and welcome back to EFD, where today we'll be looking at some of the January transfers that have left us a little bit confused. 5. Ashley Cole to Derby. Frank Lampard's new reign over Championship side Derby has started off extremely successfully, averaging 1.7 points per game. The Rams are currently in 6th place, targeting promotion into the Premier League in 2019. Unsurprisingly, Pride Park now has a sense of a little Chelsea about it. On the bench, Lampard has called in the duties of Jody Morris. The former Blues player has been coaching Chelsea's under-18s before moving up north for his new role as assistant coach. Not the only figure poached from the Blues academy, Derby also brought in 20-year-old Mason Mount on loan. But none of the additions to the Chelsea contingent are as surprising as the January transfer signing of Ashley Cole. 38-year-old free agent has returned to England till the end of the season following a stint in LA to become the oldest player in the Championship. The left-back, described by Lampard as the best of a generation, featured in 32 MLS games last season, before being released by Galaxy in October. 5 years after he departed the Prem for Serie A, Cole is back in his home nation to help the Rams bid for top-flight status. With a combined 384 appearances for Arsenal and Chelsea, he's lifted the Champions League and the Europa League trophies, collected 3 Premier League winners' medals and won 7 FA Cups, and a League Cup for good measure. Lampard will be hoping that the 107-capped Englishman can help bring some experience into his side and help the likes of Mason Mount and Harry Wilson as we reach the business end of the season. While Cashley might finally silence his critics in the UK, ditching Beverly Hills for the not-so-glamorous Derby County. 4. Nathaniel Clyne to Bournemouth. The January loan transfer of Nathaniel Clyne to Bournemouth isn't as surprising as some of the others on this list, but that doesn't mean it makes sense. The 27-year-old first joined Liverpool from Southampton in 2015 for £12 million, and he was a model of consistency, making 52 appearances in his first season and 42 the following term. However, last season he collected just 2 appearances and has played 108 minutes for the Reds this campaign. However, he could have been about to add to that figure due to the injury of Trent Alexander-Arnold, the same player who knocked Clyne from his starting spot. Conflicting reports are expecting TAA to be out for anything from a couple of weeks to a couple of months, and in the meantime, Klopp has opted to fill the gap with James Milner. But 2 yellow cards and a suspension later, it's starting to look very bare on the bench. While Fabinho has been called up by Brazil as a right-back, it takes him away from his very important midfield duties if the German is forced to use him at the back. And while Jurgen Klopp is scratching his head to work out who can fill the gap, Nathaniel Clyne has gone straight into the Cherry starting lineup, already playing more minutes in Bournemouth than in Merseyside. Eddie Howe's mid-season signing has recorded 5.5 tackles per 90. Having played just 2 games, it's probably a bit early to take these stats too seriously, but they do suggest that he's match sharp and ready to make a difference for Bournemouth, who need some defensive help, having conceded 42 goals so far this season, the 4th most in the league behind Cardiff, Fulham and Burnley. With 1 clean sheet already in his pocket, it looks like the move has been beneficial for the Englishman as he recreates his Southampton form back on the south coast. But 264 miles north, Klopp might be missing the understudy as his personnel problems worsen. 3. Cesc Fabregas to Monaco. Much like Frank Lampard at Derby County, Thierry Henry at Monaco is using his connections as a player to help his managerial career in the form of Cesc Fabregas. You might think a switch to Ligue 1 at 31 years old is an understandable move for the Spaniard, and you'd be right. In the short term anyway, so give us a minute to explain why it could end in disaster. Over his 16-year career, the La Masia graduate has earned a grand total of 447 appearances for Arsenal, Barcelona and Chelsea. A rare species to have earned the respect from both sides of London, he heads the Principality with 2 Prem trophies, 1 La Liga title and a World Cup winners' medal. Last season, he even forced his way back into Antonio Conte's midfield, going on to make 25 starts and nearly 4 key passes every 90 minutes. However, another Italian headed to Cobham and decided he wouldn't be a major player in Sarri Ball. This season, Fabregas managed just 1 league start and 4 appearances from the bench in West London, and he'll be expecting more minutes under his ex-teammate in Monaco. Well, if it's minutes Cesc is after, then his €10 million move makes sense. 2 games so far, and he's proving he can be a source of creativity, averaging 2.5 key passes per 90 minutes. However, both him and Henry have a huge job at hand, as Monaco sits second from bottom with just 15 points from 21 games. If we look at their fate realistically, it's highly likely that the Red and Whites could drop down to Ligue 2, at which point we'd expect Henry's head to roll and Fabregas would be in France for another 3 years, playing with part-time professionals. 2. Ryan Babel to Fulham. Having assumed Ryan Babel had already entered footballing oblivion, his arrival at Craven Cottage for £1.8 million was the new recruit we didn't realise we needed. Since leaving Liverpool in 2011, the 31-year-old Dutchman has skipped from Germany to the Netherlands to Turkey, Abu Dhabi and Spain before settling back in the Super League with Besiktas in 2017. The journey from Vodafone Park to the cottage isn't exactly a well-trodden path, with few making it back to the English top flight following stints in Turkey and the UAE. But actually, Babel's start against Tottenham in January marked 8 years since he last started a Premier League game. While in Merseyside, Babel made 91 appearances and scored 12 times. After difficult spells between 2012 and 2016, the former Hoffenheim and Ajax winger found his feet in Besiktas, where he racked up 22 goals in 62 appearances, apparently catching the attention of Claudio Ranieri. And while we didn't expect it, his debut went extremely well. Over just 56 minutes of play against Spurs, the Dutchman recorded the highest number of shots and created most chances on the pitch. His arrival has been bad news for Fulham golden boy Ryan Sessegnon, who was relegated to the bench. But the real test for the Premier League returner will be longevity, whether or not he's fit enough to compete regularly in the physical league, as we aren't sure he's been tested over the last 8 years. 1. Kevin Prince Boateng to Barcelona. Without a doubt, Kevin Prince Boateng's loan move to Barcelona has been the weirdest transfer of the window, and to be honest, we're still trying to get our heads around their signing of the 31-year-old. The striker spent 2 years at Spurs before a loan took him to Germany to play for Borussia Dortmund. Unlike most of La Masia graduates residing in Catalonia, Boateng has a character-building season in Portsmouth under his belt, as well as stints in Milan, Schalke, Las Palmas and Eintracht Frankfurt, meaning that in 10 years he's played for 8 different clubs. KPB joined Sassuolo from Germany in 2018, but made just 13 league appearances, and has now opted to switch Serie A for a backup role at the Nou Camp. Expected to understudy Luis Suarez, the forward wasn't exactly Barca's first choice, with Morata, Carlos Vela and Stuani all ahead of him on their shopping list. But the board are claiming that Boateng's experience playing for one of Europe's top sides, which we're assuming is AC Milan, made him a favourable recruit. At the end of his loan contract is the option to buy for €8 million, but looking at his form in Italy, and we aren't convinced that Barcelona will go through with it. Over his 11 starts for Sassuolo, he scored just 4 goals, assisted once, and registered only 2.2 shots per 90. In contrast, Luis Suarez has scored 15, assisted 5 in 18 games, where he was shooting 3.6 times a match. And it doesn't seem like this lack in form is a blip. Over 4 seasons, he's scored just 21 times, while Suarez has netted 109 goals in the same period. So here's hoping that the Blaugrana's main man stays injury-free and they don't need to utilise their quick fix. Thank you for watching. Those were 5 transfers that don't make sense. Let me know what you guys thought in the comments below. And if you enjoyed that, stay right here on EFD and go and check out Star Wars The League because it's back. Brilliant. And don't forget to like and subscribe.